Come get your Rotary tickets, your raffle tickets at the Rotary.
It's time to go and find some food. You've got 15 minutes to socialize, make nice with people, smile, and then in 15 minutes we'll start the actual meeting itself. Thanks.
Come get your raffle tickets. We got raffle tickets. Pot is over $800. Get your raffle tickets. Raffle tickets on sale. Come down and get your raffle tickets.
Check one, check. Check one.
Tell her I left it on because we like the little background noise. So be careful what you say about it.
Okay, so this is how it.
Get your raffle tickets.
It's 12:15. It's time to get started. I was told that last week you couldn't all hear me because of the acoustics and I wasn't close enough to the microphone and loud enough. So I thought I'd repeat the whole of last week's for now. All right, just joking. I won't. Anyway, welcome to everybody here. It's going to be a great day. We've got a wonderful speaker as well. I hope I'm close enough, slow enough, and loud enough. I'm going to welcome Chris Kim to the microphone. And to note that today we're changing it up a bit. There's no song, so you don't have to practice your thank God, he says.
There's no song. Can you all rise with me as we do the Pledge of Allegiance? There's a flag over there. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
We are going to recite the four-way test instead. Here it is. So let us start. Okay, I'm turned around. What can I say? So I'll lead it. Please all start, though. I'm speaking backwards, so to speak. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? And that's important. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I want us to keep those words in mind all the time, everything we do, even when we think about the pledge. So thank you. That's a bit of a change up, and we may do it again in the future. And now we have Dan. Calm. You're so calm, sir. Yeah, I know, the inspiration.
All right, so inspiration's interesting. Everybody's inspired by different things. And when you're doing an inspiration, let's see if this works. There we go. So about a year ago, my wife and I decided that opening bees or trying bees would be what we wanted to do. So here's the front of our hive, and I'm inspired by these little guys. So we started Bee Calm Honey Company, and that's where you're got. And so these are what they look like. That's a picture of one of my bees. So up close and personal. They're Italian bees, so that we call them the Bellas. So Italian bees are very soft and gentle, and they're very inspiring. They work very hard. You can go down and hang out with them. I bring my guitar down to them. I sing to them. They make lots of honey. It's really quite an interesting thing. So here's me putting it together. And that's what our hive looks like. It's a flow hive, so it's like the fancy new thing. And then when we bring them home, you get what's called a nuck, and you get 5 frames of bees and a queen, and you have about 40,000 bees riding in the back of your car coming home, and you're praying to God that nothing happens on the way home. No sharp turns, no quick stops. Okay? Maybe. There's our hive area that we had done. We got a water fountain for them. Bees use about 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons a day per hive, and they actually cool their hive with the water from the sprinkler. So they go down and they get all that water, and they go in and do their own thing. Come on. There we go. So there's us down there. In the summer, we have to put up sails because it just gets too hot. The hives get too hot. The bees like to keep their insides at 95 degrees. So when it's 110, they're using a lot of water to keep it cool. There's what a frame of bees looks like. And at this point, they're so used to us and our scent, smell, and the way we look, you can literally put your hand into the hive and bring out an entire bare arm of bees, and they do not bite. It's very interesting. No, they don't bite or sting. And I think they look like little dogs. There's another picture I took of another bee. He looks like a little dog. He's just in there working away, and they just keep going. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, sun up, they're out. So we took our first harvest this last 2 weeks, and so you turn a little key, and it goes into the jar, and then, there's no muss, no fuss. So We call them the bubbies or the bellas, and we like their picture, so we take a lot of them. And that's what it looks like with the frames. Each frame will hold about 2 quarts of honey when they're fully full. And then there's the harvest. My wife's smiling, doing her stuff with the bees. So in retrospect, if you think about this, when you're my age, starting a new hobby, when you know nothing about bees and learning about what they do and all the stuff that goes into them, it's very inspiring to see them work. And I really enjoy taking care of them. So I thought I'd share that with you. And, oh wait, I have, for Diana, it's your birthday, I brought some little bees. So here's a bee. Chris, thank you for doing Pledge and Song. And Bruce, I just like that. All right, onwards to guests. Welcome, everybody. I'm Dan, in case you didn't get that. And to those watching at home, thank you. To those here today, great. For our guest today, we have the guest, and if you would stand up and be recognized when I call your name, guest of Jeannie Zita, Luca Diamante. Luca, how are you, bud? Another guest of Jeannie Zita, Neil Diamante. Guest of Nina Trasoff, Lisbeth Canas Pampa. Lisbeth? Welcome. Guest of Katie Dusenberry, Bruce Dusenberry. Bruce? Guest of Katie Dusenberry, Ashley Burris. Welcome, Ashley. Guest of Judy Kagi, Irene Noon. Guest of Gary Shear, Kirk Krenzel. Kirk? So, again, welcome, everybody, and glad you're here, and good to see everybody.
Mitch Pizik, can you come up very briefly, please, to the podium? You better run, because we're on a tight timeline. It's calories, being used. Oh, Mitch, you missed that last week we don't have dessert anymore. We don't have dessert anymore. We save money. I asked Mitch to come up because he's the last member of our board who has not been given his board member pin. So, Mitch, here you go. He's been out of town holidaying in places like Amsterdam. As of next week, by the way, all guests will once again start to sign in as guests. We used to have this system, but we've sort of been a bit lax over the last few years. But we're starting again. Then you can sign in and be official. Yay. All right, now we're going to have the program, and I'm very excited to hear what this young gentleman has to say. I'm going to bring Brittany, one of our members, to the microphone.
I met Patrick in 2020, and he was accepted into this pitch competition, and he was the youngest person to grace the stage. Now, I wish I could tell you that it was the pandemic that kept me up at night during this year, but it wasn't. It was Patrick. I'll be honest, I had my concerns. How was I supposed to teach this 19-year-old kid how to inspire a global audience of philanthropists? What could 19 years on Earth have to teach us? My concerns were quickly turned into celebrations when I realized that this man is a born leader, not just a leader for leadership's sake, but he is someone who deeply understands his role and his responsibility, and he understands the critical needs in our community. If you've met Patrick, you will know that he loves his grandparents and his mama, who's right there in the blue. He is a Tucsonan, born and raised, a proud Southsider who's dedicated to healing and uniting Southern Arizona. He never takes a relationship or an opportunity for granted. He was raised in this digital world of connections, but he's a hug and a handshake kind of guy. I can't wait for you to hear his story today, because I believe Patrick's path found him, but he's been diligently planting these seeds to help continue to nurture connections and opportunities. He was his middle school student body president, his high school student body president. He recently ended his student body president at the University of Arizona. He really listens to the voices of the people in his community. And more importantly, he creates spaces for all those voices to be heard. He believes in having those conversations that matter with people who care, and he's driven by his unconditional love for this community. I'm going to end with just one lesson that Patrick taught me because it's transformed my life in so many ways. We can use our stereotypes about others, our curiosities, our questions, and even our concerns as tools to bridge the gap between the generations, to build genuine friendships, and to create change that celebrates our differences and our unique perspectives. Our society's done a really good job of teaching us the importance of respecting our elders, but we still have a long way to go with teaching our society about the value of respecting our youth and the generations that come underneath us. But Patrick, he's on the front lines of this mission. It's my sincere honor and pleasure to introduce you to Patrick Robles and to invite you into the Gen Z experience.
Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Thank you, Brittany, for the very, very kind introduction. I'll give you $20 after our lunch today. Secondly, I'd love to first start off by acknowledging our service staff who's been serving us this afternoon. Thank you all for the great food and for keeping this meeting going. My name is Patrick Robles, and thank you for the invitation. Do you mind if I take this mic off? I'm gonna get off stage. I get a little jittery and I wanna feel your energy. I'm gonna go down stage. Let's see, where's the remote? Right here. And I wanna talk to you about why our time is now. But first, let's think back to 8th grade. 8th grade, remember, shout out at me. What were you doing in 8th grade? Nina, what were you doing in 8th grade? Studying ballet. Studying ballet. Me too. I'm just kidding. What were you doing in 8th grade?
Playing baseball.
Playing baseball. Let me tell you, I wasn't doing ballet. I was playing a little baseball. But when I was in 8th grade, I was calling my county supervisor. What a nerd. A light pole had gone down in my neighborhood, and my family was concerned. My neighbors were concerned. It had been down for a few days, and we didn't know what to do. Luckily, in 6th grade, I joined a civics class. Taught me the value of local government, state government, national government, and I looked up Pima County. One thing led to another, and I called my county supervisor's office. I let them know what was happening, and 2 days later, that light pole was fixed. Now, I'm getting off the school bus, and I get a call from a restricted phone number. I answer it. Hello. You know, my voice was squeaky back then. And it was my county supervisor, Ramon Valadez, thanking me for taking the initiative to make my neighborhood a better place. 3 years later, I'm working for him. My mom encouraged me to work during the summer, and I applied for a summer youth internship. His office wasn't accepting interns, but I made that call again, and next thing you know, it's my sophomore year, summer, and I'm working for him, dealing with constituent issues, going out into neighborhoods, helping resolve some of the issues that I helped resolve just 3 years earlier. Now, Generation Z, we hear this in the news all the time. We see the op-eds in the newspaper articles. Folks are often doing voter analysis. Well, Generation Z is my generation, 1997 to 2012. I was born in 2001. I was born right before 9/11. I don't remember what 9/11 was like experiencing. I just know what the ramifications were. I grew up with a black president, same-sex marriage, mass shootings, all these different things, right, that we continue to see. But to me, this was not something that was like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? It was just something that was normal. And I'd argue that that has often plagued some of the mindsets and values, and I use plagues probably and has a negative connotation to it, but it has taken its effect and impacted how we think, what we do, where we work. And so it's impacted us. Now, my story during this time, I began my public service career when I was 16, working for the county supervisor. Then I joined Sunnyside High School Student Council. And because I worked for my county supervisor, I learned how to advocate for myself. A crosswalk needed to be built right in front of our school. Traffic had been going, and students didn't like playing chicken when they had to leave school. And so we got together, me and my friends, and we were successful in doing so. We met with our city council member, Richard Fimbres, worked with key stakeholders in the school district, and 3 months later, we had that crosswalk built. It's led me to join my school district foundation. I'm born and raised from the South Side. I went through the Sunnyside Unified School District, a proud product. I joined the school district's foundation after I graduated high school to help raise money for students that I went to school with and the students who were going to go through similar experiences. And it led me to, after the county supervisor lost his re-election, I went to go work for the county attorney's office, working as her community outreach coordinator. This was a new county attorney. I believe you all had her recently. And she wanted to bring in some fresh blood, some young blood, clearly. And we went into neighborhoods where the county attorney hadn't often been. And I was proud to lead that work. But it was these experiences that started in high school, these experiences that started when I first worked for the county supervisor, these experiences growing up in the South Side that guided me through that role. Then it led me to leave my role as county attorney, working for the county attorney's office, to run for student body president of the University of Arizona. I had been working in local government during my college years. And so I said, well, it's my senior year, let's take a step back. Let's run for student body president. Let's help students at the university. Now, throughout my life experiences, I would not be where I have been, where I'm at now, if it weren't for my village. That's very clear. I'm not a self-made man. These are the folks who make me. That's my family right there. We're all my student body president office there at the university. And there at the University of Arizona, we advocated for issues that impacted students, such as being able to ride the Sunlink. It had been fare free, and we wanted to continue, and we were successful in advocating for that. And it was these experiences that had led me to that moment, to lead Gen Z leaders who probably would have never met their city council member, leaders who probably would have never thought twice about how transit is funded or how it works, to start going to city council meetings, to start thinking critically about what it means to fund public transit, what it means to divvy up a city's budget to fund the services that we all in this room benefit from. I graduated from the university this past May. I studied public management and policy. And there's the commencement. And a couple weeks before I graduated, I got a call from the governor's office, and now I'm working for the governor of Arizona, serving as community and business relations liaison. I'm only 22 years old. You all missed my 21st birthday, or else I would have asked you to buy me a drink. And I'm excited to take all these experiences in my young life, these experiences as a Gen Z leader, somebody who's experienced those stories I talked about, living in this post 9/11 world, in a world where that's constantly changing, to guide me to this moment, to be able to apply this lens in impacting Southern Arizona. So let's talk about the stereotypes. Lazy is a word that's constantly thrown around. Cynical, anxious, glued to the screen, woke. These are all buzzwords that are often thrown around about my generation. But I ought to tell you something. We're not lazy. We're not cynical. We're not anxious, glued to technology, or woke. Cynical, we want to see this world become a better place, just like you. We see what's happening and want to see leaders take the necessary action. Anxious, homes are the cost of living is constantly going up. Wages are staying the same. We're anxious to live comfortably, glued to technology. So I'm 22, but I'm probably one of the older Gen Zers, right? My first cell phone was late middle school, but I had a laptop in middle school and elementary school and high school provided by the school district. And I'm wearing an Apple Watch, and I've got my iPhone that I know how to use quite well. And woke, want to live in a world that's accepting of all people, right? We've got shared goals, folks. We want to find good jobs. We want to buy a home. We want to find jobs that pay well with benefits. Don't we all? We all want to hopefully retire, travel the world, come to a Rotary Club. That's right. That's right. And this is a diverse space. This world is going to continually be diverse. Generation Z is the most diverse generation yet, with over 60% of folks identifying as a minority. And that number is going to keep on growing. But no matter how folks identify, let's get down to basics. We want to be able to walk down the street and be safe. We want to be able to go to the doctor and not have to worry about whether we go to the doctor or do we go to the emergency room to be checked. These are real experiences of America's younger generation today. We care about our community. It's why I'm here. And there's many more folks like me. Just don't always have the microphone like I do. But folks want to see our communities improve. I see it every day. Now, we vote, but let me tell you something. Although we've got a reputation for leaning left, most Gen Z folks, over 60%, are registered independent. Maybe it's reflective of the greater frustrations that folks have. So, I was looking at many of your faces. I saw some heads nodding. We've got shared goals, folks. Let's give Generation Z a chance. Let's take these experiences that we've had in our coming of age in this rapidly changing world. Earlier during my presentation, I recalled that a lot of these things just seem natural to us. They weren't just constant occurrences, as some of our elders may have experienced. So we're taking these perspectives and telling ourselves, well, maybe things don't have to be always the same. Maybe we can do things differently. Now, I'm been the youngest person in the room for about the past 6 years. I've always been I can say that comfortably. I'm not just saying that to joke around, but I have. And I've been confused as an intern. By all means, I get it. But the minute I speak up, I feel like Mighty Mouse, right? I've been 5'3" since I was in middle school. But folks are like, wow, you're 19? Yeah, I'm 19. You're 20? I'm 20. You're 21? I am 21. You're 22? I am 22, and I'm working for the governor. But it's because I care about this community. I've got my university education. I've listened to my elders, and so are my counterparts. It's about having the opportunity to be placed in these positions to succeed. I've been grateful for these opportunities. I know folks are, we've got, we see these signs that say now hiring or whatnot. We're ready to work, but we're ready to work in spaces that reflect our values. We see it in the data. Gen Z folks will work in places where their values are reflected. Values of acceptance. Values that are often mistaken for being political. These values often guide our lenses, and I've been grateful to have those values guide me. Now, folks will always seek a paycheck, but at the end of the day, if X company is contributing to the environment, if X company stood this way on this particular issue, your Gen Z employee may take a second look as to how long they're going to stick at that particular organization. It's quite interesting. It's novel. But folks are sticking to their values. We all have values in this room. But in this particular moment, in 2023, it's the brain and the heart that guides my generation and wanting to contribute to this society. The people who are often in leadership positions in the business community, in different sorts of sectors around our country, are often experienced, yes. But the folk, it's my belief that if these folks give a chance and an opportunity to younger individuals to learn, to move up, if folks in leadership positions in companies and organizations begin mentoring younger individuals, if folks in leadership positions in organizations begin to not listen to the stereotype, but give that younger person an opportunity, I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 that person is going to be appreciative, but going to be willing to learn, going to be willing to apply their values with your values, mix in those values and contribute to your organization for the better. Let's rid the stereotype. Let's give an opportunity to that person who may identify in a different way that you may have been used to. Let's give an opportunity to that kid who may have grown up in a lower socioeconomic status. Give Gen Z a chance. Because I'll tell you what, our time is now. Not just Gen Z's time, Gen X's time, the millennial time, baby boomer time, the silent generation time, the greatest generation. Our time is now to be able to contribute to our communities and our country. But if we want to be successful, we've got to include everyone at the table. Include Generation Z. Give that young person a chance. Our time is now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. With that, I'd be happy to take some questions. I'm an open book.
There's one at the very back there.
Okay. The left corner. Oh. We'll get you after.
So I want a good culture for my company. I think about that, but I think that the company has to succeed. If I don't take a political stance on this or that, is that viewed as bad by Generation Y or Z?
That's a very good question. Thank you. It's not necessarily viewed as bad, but when you establish a culture where everybody's respected, no matter who they are or where they come from, it is in my opinion that will then outweigh your it will outweigh you making a political stance as a company. But it's very important for you to be conscious about your company's role in that particular issue. It doesn't necessarily, if you're a teacher consulting firm and you're asked to take a stance on an environment issue, that doesn't necessarily make sense unless you dig down to the weeds. If the issue relates to your company, it's important to be conscious in how that relates to your company. If you're treating folks respectfully and accepting of everyone, that will outweigh the latter, or the former, excuse me. Question back.
Okay. So one thing, thank you for presenting. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for what you're doing with so far with your life, and how you're sharing with the community. I do have to say that in this room, and I haven't been part of the Rotary Club for a very long time, I met some outstanding people that started like you, very young in age, and great. I mean, they either politically, through nonprofits, through their own businesses, started. I mean, I've heard these stories about, how generations go in, and, we may be older now, but, we did start, and we were 21, 22 at one time. But with that said, there is a gap in how we communicate to each other. What I would love to see are the people that are not in your position or the other ones, and to hear from them. Because on the programs that you're talking about, what's available as opportunities, when I was running my own company, I had tons of opportunities, kept on voicing them, and people were not taking them. We were just, a week or 2 weeks ago, we were at Pima with their automotive program. A lot of people are not taking advantage of those. So where's the disconnect of how all these opportunities are being available and they are not being taken by Generation Z?
Thank you. There's been this post-pandemic ethos that has been kind of filling the air around members of the Gen Z community. And that post-pandemic ethos is that folks want to see materialistic change and substantive opportunities. Now, what the pandemic taught us is maybe we don't have to always do things the same. Maybe our country falls short in providing certain services for folks. And this post-pandemic ethos that is often revolves around materialism is my recommendation to you is that you demonstrate to folks what are the pros. You come work for my company, this is what you're getting. You're getting health insurance. This is what you're getting. You're getting a good pay. This is what you can get with your good pay. This is how much you're making a year. This is where you're working. Demonstrate that materialistic value that comes with working to your company, because there's folks are eager to work, but how will it impact their life for the better? That is often what's guiding people and wanting to apply for certain roles and opportunities.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
My question is, and I want to say thank you for bringing us back to 8th grade. And I remember that time, and I had a lot of energy at that time, but I also felt very burdened, maybe like young folks do today with all of the problems in the world. So as someone who works in mental health as well, one of my concerns is that there's a lot of negativity out there, and that your generation is just constantly receiving so much information, and a lot of that is negative information. And then, so how do you deal with that?
It is. There's kids who have cell phones in 2nd grade now. I had a laptop when I was in middle school, and I was on social media throughout middle school and high school and to this day. And a lot of what we see through social media is misinformation. A lot of what we see through social media are imagery and videos that may impact how an individual may see themselves, much in a negative manner. Now, last year, I sought therapy. to take care of my mental health. And I believe what we're doing, what Gen Z is realizing is it's okay to take care of your mental health. You're a man, you can seek therapy. That's what I did. And I became a better person because of it. And your question, and please correct me if I'm wrong, was more so asking me how I've been able to navigate this, or the generation as a. Thank you. I try to limit my time on social media, but also it's important to be authentic. I don't want to be fake when I'm posting on Instagram or tweeting out something. But I am wary of how this may have a negative impact on my psyche. And so taking those breaks, going outside, getting down to basics when we didn't have social media is what has helped keep me balanced. Thank you for your question. Are we good?
He just asked me, are we good? We're more than good. We're brilliant. Excuse me. Thank you very much. Stand here for a moment, if you will, just to show how high tech he is. He's not using an iPad or anything. He's using a school notebook. Thank you for such a wonderful talk. Now, is it working? I also learned from Gen Z that I can remove this when I turn around to read that next time. What you don't know, the guests, is that we always have a speaker sign a book. And the book chosen for this particular speaker and this week is called The Crayons Go Back to School. So we're going to ask Patrick to sign this and thank him very much. Now, this book is going to go into the Make Way for Books school program here that we Rotary, we support strongly, Make Way for Books. And I have to note, that our very own David Lovett is the president of Make Way for Books. So give him a cheer if you can. I thought that was a great way to actually start our year. Now we get on to happy birthdays, okay, and I hope I'm speaking closely enough. So the first one we have celebrating today is Diana Cannon. Diana was born on July the 13th, and she's with Community and Social Services. So something you don't know about Diana, and I didn't until yesterday. When she was 12 years old, she won second place in a trout fishing contest. How big was it? That big? That big? And the award was not a fish dinner, but it was a chicken dinner at the local diner. What can I say?
And I competed against all men. So you can imagine when this 12-year-old little girl gets up and she's got this 25-inch trout. So anyway, thank you all. I wanted to thank John Lewis and Lisa Fogel, who were instrumental in bringing me to this wonderful club. And as you mentioned about social media, I found some things on something on social media that made me think of all of you. And it says, and I think that's who we are. Be the reason that someone feels welcomed, seen, heard, valued, loved, and supported. And all of you do that with all of us. And I thank you for allowing me to be a part of this group. They're so loving. So I wanted to also leave with you one last thing. Never leave home without a hug, a kiss, or an I love you. And then as you go to your car, be sure that you remove the dog and cat hair from your mouth. I can say that as being with the Humane Society of Southern Arizona. But love us all. Thank you. Oh, and here's your check. Thank you.
I was actually wondering about that for those of us who live alone. And at age 11, I was actually winning a competition for Charleston. Nothing like trout fishing. I was doing the Charleston. However, now we have something very, very special. We're making a special presentation today to Katie Dusenberry. It's not only a special birthday milestone for her, but also a special history moment for our club. So, Katie is going to celebrate her 99th birthday this coming Sunday. She's wearing orange. She's at this front table down here. She was the first female president of our Rotary Club of Tucson in 1998, 1999. She was the first female, and she was the 78th, so 77 men before her. A community leader in Pima County for more than half a century, Katie spent 11 years advocating for Tucson's families and children as a governing board member of the Tucson Unified School District. She served for 8 years on the Pima County Board of Supervisors and holds the distinction of having been the first woman to serve on that board. She was also the first woman to serve on the boards of Tucson Electric Power Company and the Tucson Airport Authority. Isn't this excellent? I mean, it goes on and on. It's wonderful. And it doesn't end. She was the first woman to chair the Arizona Department of Transportation. Yay. She's been an advocate and supporter for seniors for decades, having served on the Federal Council on Aging for nearly 10 years. She championed the Older Americans Act and served on the Pima Council on Aging Board of Directors. There are too many other boards that she served on, rather too numerous to mention, but diverse as well. Now, you may all know this, but one of our Pima County libraries is named after Katie, and that's the one on the Dusenberry River Library on the corner of Craycroft and River. And her name is also on the Pima Council Aging's Katie Dusenberry Healthy Aging Center. On March the 21st of this year, the Pima County Board of Supervisors proclaimed it Katie Dusenberry Day. I love it. Katie Dusenberry Day. Today, as we celebrate Katie's 99th birthday, we also present her with two recognitions. First, with a certificate recognizing her now as an honorary member of our club. And second, with a special coin recognizing her 33 years of membership. 33 years. Stand up, anybody who's been here longer than 33 years. 1, 2, well, okay, a handful of you. That's brilliant. That's marvelous. Yeah, almost the whole table. Right. And now I want to introduce our fellow Rotarian, Nina, who's been a member along with Katie these past 30 years. And while she's coming, I'm just going to hand the certificate and the pins to Shah, who's going to give them to Katie. Nina, thank you so much.
Thank you. It's truly my honor to be able to be part of honoring Katie. I remember when I came to town as a young reporter, there was this woman doing all of this stuff. She broke the ground, she led the way, she opened doors for so many of us. It was amazing. When you look back, you just heard a little bit of her resume. But before Katie, women didn't do that. And there were a lot of us that learned from her and through her, and thus were able to achieve on our own. But I also remember, Katie, when you and I joined Rotary, January 1st, 1991. Rotary had only been accepting women for a few years, and there had been 2 women before us who left. So Katie, Carolyn, Emerine, and I came to our first meeting, and it was we 3 and 270 men. And none of us blinked. But Then she became first president, and I have shared the honor of being the longest woman member of this club with Katie for decades. She's now officially resigned from being a full-time member, but she is one of our honorary members. And so Katie and I will continue to be the eldest, the doyens of Rotary. But Katie, thank you for all you've done for our community as a whole, but especially for women, because you showed us we can do it all, because you opened those doors for us. Thank you.
And Nina, if I may add to that, Katie showed women that we can do it, but also showed men that we can do it as well. It was a societal change. Thank you, Katie. Oh, another applause. 99 years old, fabulous. And now we have a Paul Harris presentation. Shah is coming up to make the presentation.
Rotarians not only contribute to their names to the Rotary Foundation to be recognized with a Paul Harris Fellow, but also make gifts in the names of family members and friends, those whose lives exemplify the humanitarian and education objectives of Rotary, demonstrating in their lives a commitment to helping persons in need. Today, fellow Rotarian Jen Hoffman is gifting a Paul Harris Fellow to her husband and fellow Rotarian Sean. Sean is wearing his new Paul Harris Fellow pin, pinned on by Jen, and she also presented him with his certificate. Sean originally hails from the land of 10,000 lakes, but he moved with his parents to Tucson when he was but a babe. He graduated from Amphi High School and later graduated from NAU. He has over 30 years of experience in water purification, starting his own business in 2016, Arizona Ice and Water, which specializes in bottleless water coolers and ice machines for businesses throughout Phoenix and southern Arizona. Sean became a family member of our club in 2020 during Jen's term when she was our club's 100th president. It was only natural for him to become a member, as he had been a huge supporter of Rotary Youth Exchange, being the host parent to our Rotary's club's last 3 exchange students, Christina from Italy, Pedro from Brazil, and Polano from Spain. Though both Sean and Jen went to NAU and knew some of the same people, they did not meet until a cold, snowy night in Tucson in January 1997, when Sean's dogs escaped from his yard, and in looking for his dogs, he found Jen, the love of his life. Now, 20 years later, they have 2, whoops-a-daisy, they have 2 amazing sons. Owen, who is 19, like his parents, is attending NAU. He's a sophomore majoring in nursing. He became passionate about the medical field, taking the JTED Comprehensive Healthcare course, and then received his EMT certificate at Pima Community College last summer. Noah is 17 and is starting his senior year at Ironwood High School. He works as a cook and busser at Little Abner's during the school year. He loves cars and was fortunate to take the JTED Automotive Technology course at Pima Community College, and is working on his 1991 Toyota Supra with his dad, which he hopes to enter in our next car show. Sean and Jen have a special crazy project they're working on together, having purchased a 32-passenger retired U of A Cat Tram shuttle bus, which they are converting into a motorhome. I don't know if that'll be the car show or not. On Sean's personal profile page, when asked, "What is your best Rotary moment?" he replies, "Every car show and my service trip to Ensenada." Sean, we have a tradition to give Paul Harris Fellows recipients a token of something of little or no value. And as the president, don't get too excited. As the president of Southern Arizona Ice and Water, for your personal and family's use, we have what are known as reusable ice cubes. Please join me in congratulating Sean. Join me in congratulating Sean. Thanks.
nicer Paul Harris. You wouldn't find anywhere else. And now we have a blue badge presentation. Bruce, I believe you're on stage. Well, you already are, but come here.
Thank you, President Margaret. Well, most of you know our Blue Badge recipient today, Chris Kim. I would encourage you, if you don't, to get to know him, introduce yourself, because he'll make you smile, he'll make you laugh. Just a great guy, and as you probably also know, he's not wearing this great shirt just because he's fashion forward. He's actually the captain, right, at the Salvation Army, and raises funds for the Salvation Army here locally. He came from South Korea as a child, went back there for a number of years and lived and met his wife and had 2 kids there, and then came to the U.S., back to the U.S., and had another child. He graduated from Seattle Pacific University and the Salvation Army Training School, and he's currently continuing his education at the Wesleyan Biblical School in Mississippi. I guess that's a remote study program. Yeah. So I'd like to present the Blue Badge to Chris Kim. I'll take that one. You want that?
Wow, thank you. Always wanted to be a Blue Badge. Ever since I got here, I wanted to be a Blue Badge. And I asked Dorina one question. Can I just skip over all the red badge duties? And she said, nope. Okay, so I tried hard to get it done quickly. I want to thank my sponsor, Steve Pickering, who's not here. And also, of course, my mentor, Bruce. He's an excellent guy, great golfer. If you want to learn a few things, talk to him. He'll beat any of you guys. Well, actually, no, he lost. Sorry. He lost to somebody else. I won't say who, but I just want to say thank you. Welcoming to back to your club. I love it. I want to be able to do much as I can and be get to know every one of you individually. Thank you very much.
Salvation Army, my favorite clothes shop. All the time I'm there. After the photo op is finished, I'll welcome Dan Calm, Sergeant at Arms again. Insurance and risk management, State Farm Insurance. He's been with us since 2020.
So, thank you. So I guess Katie's daughter Lynn is here also. Is that right? Daughter-in-law Lynn. So I wanted to acknowledge her because I don't think I had her on the list. So there you go. So I gave the cards to Brittany to shuffle. And I'll let Margaret pull. The ticket I'm going to pull is going to be 177523. 177523. Who's got it? Hey! And you were close. You got the Jack of Clubs, not the King of Clubs. All right, so I guess I'm next with the announcements. I don't know. So we're going to have a whiskey social at my house next Wednesday night, August 2nd. We've got 14 people coming over. There's details about it in the bulletin. We're going to have great food. We're going to have homemade pizzas from a special pizza oven and salads and whiskey. And my patio's got this mister thing, so it's nice and cool, or you can go in the house if it's too hot. But come on over. If you haven't RSVP'd, please RSVP to me or Dorina, and we will be glad to put you on the list. Go ahead, Mitch. It's an amazing time. It's beautiful views, beautiful sunsets, and you get to go down and check out the bees if you want to.
Good on you. We now have Lee Olitsky. Lee, are you going to speak from the floor or coming up here? Okay, then Lee, come on. Lee's going to come and talk to us about the car show, something we're all very keen to hear about. I mean, what other event generates, I don't know, $150,000, $200,000 every year for non-profits? Good on you, Lee. Here you go.
Thank you, Basically, I wanted to give you a few little updates, and I'll try to do as promptly as I can. To begin with, unfortunately, Daryl Stewart, who had accepted the role of car chauffeur next to a couple of obstacles, and he asked if he could postpone that responsibility until the future, which we obviously said, no, you have to continue regardless of what's going on. Now, we said, of course, and we, the committee, which I'll mention to you, the executive committee, the car show committee met and discussed who might be a great candidate, and we decided maybe this year we should have 2 people. And what I can tell you about these 2 people is, one, they didn't go to Sail Point, so just let you know that. One operates their family business, and the other one operates his own business. Okay? And to give you the biggest hint, he carries water for the family, and she is a past president. So guess who? Could it be the Hoffmans? Hey. Okay, my pleasure. Thank you, guys. We thought this year having co-chairs would be an interesting experience both for the club and for Jen and Sean. So congratulations and good luck. Just a couple of just a couple of data points I mentioned to you all. One is you should congratulate yourself, and a special shout out to Candy and the 2 Nancys. We are now closed for vehicle registrations. So we have our 400 plus cars or vehicles, and we also have approximately 20 Porsches as display vehicles. So that should be pretty exciting. Mike Anderson's not here, but because of the car show, he went out and bought more Porsches. So he's going to have like 4 Porsches at the car show. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Let me see. I'm doing this without my glasses. Bear with me. I got to find them. Then I got mine. So what happens when you're not 21? You share glasses with people. I wanted to also mention to you that, as many of you know, once the car show is over for year 1, so to speak, the next group takes over right away and begins almost immediately working on the next year car show. So the executive committee, which meets monthly for the most part to help steer the car show, is composed of several members, and for both guests and new members, wanted to mention to you that that group is made up of Rob LeMaster, Cindy Barbie, Candy, Arnie, Bobby Larson. I was going to joke and say that Bobby accepted doing this again for next year, but I didn't do that. Marcy Euler, Jeannie Zita, Joni Condit, Marianne Freitas, Chuck Sawyer, Steve Pickering, Mary Martin, Roger Harwell, Margaret Higgins, and myself. That's your executive committee, and if you have any questions or concerns, that's the group that you would send them to initially to look at. Moving right along, as they say, tickets. Jeannie Zita and Roger are coordinating ticket sales. Jeannie, where are you? Jeannie's right here. Jeannie does have tickets today. That's our next major, not obstacle, challenge, is to sell raffle tickets, because we're at a point now where cars are registered. I'll mention to you about sponsorships. So raffle tickets is really where the next emphasis, or the emphasis, needs to be going forward. At this point, we've sold 4,000 tickets, give or take. And I want to thank Diana Cannon and Nancy and a couple others who were standing out in Little Anthony's this past weekend when it was 110 degrees, selling raffle tickets. So dedication beyond words. Sponsorships. Thanks to the club members and others, we're at about $140,000 in sponsorships. We'd like to raise that up to $200,000, so we need any kind of referrals that you might have for people who are potential sponsors. If you're not comfortable inviting them to support the event, I'm happy to do that. Great referrals are vendors that you work with, services that you use where I can drop your name. So far, I've hit up my dentist, my insurance agent, the car mechanic. I was debating on the landscaping guy, but I may have to ask him. So we're at $140,000, so we all should be very proud of that. I think that's pretty good given where we are. Today, thanks to the efforts of Diana Medeiros and some others, I'm modeling the shirt that's available for next year. This was picked. We changed the logo a little bit just for fun. The color is what Jay Leno wears. That's what the reference point, this color. And we're doing this as a little bit of an experiment. So if you see Dorina today, you can order one. This is a medium, by the way. So I'm not very big, so you can see that you may need a large or extra large. And, hold on, we have one more reveal.
I was just wondering if it's going to be a striptease. Looks like it. Oh, come on, cheers. Come on, rowdy table at least. Come on. Should I help him or should I not?
I can't seem to get this last button, Margaret.
Where's your wife, huh? Oh, wow. Woohoo. Look there. Yay. Good job. Lovely. Very nice. Microphone?
The denim shirts are $45, but if you happen to be a big man or woman, they're $50. And they will not be at this show because she's working on seeing if these are popular. I mean, Diana. And these will be at the show, and we also have some V-neck shirts. Okay? I think that's a quick update. I don't think I left too much. I did leave out, I'm sorry, one thing. I want to thank Mary Martin and Cindy for all the excellent social media that we're getting.
We've got to give up now. We've got other people.
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been asked to leave.
No more from him, none. Briefly, though, if you have to pay more for a larger shirt, can you pay less for a smaller one? Gotta ask. My glasses. Excuse me. Jeannie. We are running close to time, so I'm going to ask for brevity, my dear.
Yeah. All I know is Luca will talk fast, and I will talk fast. So I hope you all noticed on your table there's a flyer about Rotary Youth Exchange. I'm excited to say this year we have an outbound student that you'll get to meet in a second. And now is the time. If you know of a child, a grandchild, a neighbor, son or a boy or girl that wants to consider being an exchange student, encourage them to apply now and up until October 15th, because that's the timeline to get involved with 24-25 exchange for long term. And we are doing short term coming summer, and they have until January to apply, and we are always looking for host families, and we need just one now for spring at Ironwood Ridge for Canon Nakamura, who arrived yesterday afternoon, and she'll be visiting with us next week. But now I'm excited to share with you Luca Diamenti, who started his journey to being a youth exchange student 2 summers ago. And he was exploring the idea of going to Japan, and Japan wasn't doing many exchanges, so he held out. He's graduated, and he's going to go August 11th. He'll tell you a little more. It's Luca Diamenti.
Hi, Tucson Rotary Club. I'll keep this real short. Just the left. Okay. I'm just going to introduce myself, a little bit about my hobbies and where I'm going in Japan. This is my lovely family. I graduated from Tucson High this last May. And this is a picture of us at my group at the Ryla camp that you guys sponsored me to go to, which I appreciate very much. And then there's a picture of me and some friends I recently went on a trip to Squamish, which introduces my interest in rock climbing. Is it? It's not moving. Did I point it this way? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So, I'm a big rock climber. That's what I'm hoping to do in Japan a ton. And I love volleyball as well, kind of just all sports in general. And I love to be outside. This is a lovely picture in the middle of me riding a bike in Squamish, or in Vancouver in the city. This was around the park. I rode all the way around. Next. And this is where I'll be staying in Japan. It's a little prefecture. It's actually the least populated prefecture in Japan. So it's quite small, and people drive a lot because things are spread out. This is the spot, and those two little circles you'll see, they're pretty small. You might not be able to see them, but that's where my house is, where my first host family is staying, and then the school is just right above it. And the school is a wonderful private school. I'm sure it'll be great. It's got many clubs, volleyball, music. And one thing I'd like to do is summit Mount Fuji, just because it seems really fun and tough. Yep. And there's a picture of us at Ryla, and I'd like to thank you all very much for sponsoring me to be a Y student.
Did you see him hanging off the cliff? He didn't mention that. Anyway, I'm sorry I've had to rush people towards the end, but otherwise people are going to feel very late. But I want to thank all of you and the virtual guests for coming today, and I hope you enjoyed the meeting. I certainly have. I want to welcome all of our guests. I remember as of next week, guests will be signing in. Brilliant. If anybody would like to donate to our scholarships, the cups are on the tables. Happy birthday, Diana and Katie. Oh, 99, fabulous. Congratulations to Sean on your Paul Harris and also being car show co-chair. Chris Kim on your blue badge, and Jen and Sean collectively. You're going to do a great job. We love it. Thank you. Co-chairs of the 2024 car show. Welcome to Luca Diamante. It's lovely to meet you. Next week, we've got Arizona Arts Live. Chad Herzog. There we go. He's going to be our speaker next week. And thank you to the program committee for working so hard on designing a program that we know our members want to see and hear. And now I'm going to invite Chris to do the toast. This is our new thing. We're going to have a guest do the toast.
No matter what generation you're from, no matter what your background is in, no matter if you're a minority or a majority, we can all work together. Hear, hear.
Meeting is closed. See you next week.